Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2019 horror drama Climate of the Hunter, a film that is co-written and directed by Mickey Reese, and it stars Ginger Jill Martin, Mary Buss, Ben Hall, Jacob Ryan Snovel and Laurie Cummings. Now, this is, I guess the best way to describe this film is a little bit an art house vampire film, I suppose, is the most accurate description I can give of this film. And this film focuses on two sisters who are living in a remote cabin, or certainly one of them is, and they are both vying for the affections of a mysterious man who may or may not be a vampire. Now that is essentially the story that we get here. What are my thoughts on Climate of the Hunter? Well, if you're expecting the Lost Boys here, guys, you're going to be disappointed. This isn't a traditional vampire film, and I think that is very, very obvious when you watch this film. Now, that's not to say it's a bad film. I do think there is an audience for a film like this. It's a thought-provoking film. For me, this film is more about mental health than it is about vampires. That is the underlying message that I took away from this. It's one of those films where you're not sure what is real, and if you're not sure if what you're seeing is not through the eyes of someone who is suffering with a mental illness. So from that perspective, it's a really interesting and thought-provoking film. It's more about dialogue, this film. It's more about conversations. It's more about relationships between sisters, between a father and a son, between a mother and a daughter, and it's that dynamic that you get through the majority of this film. But you also get thrown into the mix is some psychedelic, mysterious imagery and scenes that are meant to confuse, are meant to make you question what you're watching, and make you wonder if what you're watching is reality or fantasy, or, like I say, someone suffering with a mental illness. And that's the best way to sum this film up. And like I say, it is not for everyone. If you don't like art house films, you're not going to like this film. If you don't like slow paced films, you're not going to like this film. If you don't like heavy dialogue ridden films, you're not going to like this film. This has all of them, this film, and it is definitely not for everybody. I'm somewhere in the middle with this film. I appreciated the message, I understood what it was trying to do, but it didn't necessarily entertain me while it did it, if that makes sense. So it's a difficult film to recommend unless you know you like these types of films and you like these different ways to approach a subject matter that you've not experienced before, because this film is very experimental in that sense, and it's not a film that is easy to like, but it's a film, for me anyway, that I kind of respect. I thought the performances here by everybody were pretty damn good. They all gave very believable performances. All these characters, the two sisters, they're squabbling a lot of the times, they're arguing, backstabbing, but there's real concern there, real affection. I believe the dialogue between them, I believe these characters, and all that, the dynamics worked, and they were clever in how they chose the actors for this film, and it did work. It's got a real old school look to the film. It feels like it's something from the 70s. It's got a real washed look on it. It's been filmed in quite a unique way. There is some impressive cinematography going on, some dark, bizarre imagery going on that you just can't quite make out what it's for, why they're doing that, what the message is. So it is a confused film, you could argue, but definitely a film that I think some out there will certainly appreciate. But it is certainly not what you would consider a traditional vampire film. if it is a vampire film at all, because it will really make you question that. It certainly did me anyway, watching the film. I got a different message from the film, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I'm guessing that's what they were aiming for when they gave us this particular style. I did find some of the imagery, I don't know if disturbing is the right word, but it did its job in making you think and wince now and again, I suppose. It's not a graphic film in that, I don't think, in any aspect of it. And some of the characters are very odd as well. They're hard to... the characters are hard to take to, because they're not particularly likeable, any of them really. In fact, the only one that comes across as likeable, certainly from my perspective for much of the film, was the guy who was supposed to be the vampire. But you could argue he was doing that for a particular reason, because he had an ulterior motive to get the affections of these two sisters. So it's not a traditional vampire film in any way, shape or form. It is something a little bit different. For those of you that appreciate low budget independent films and films that try and do something a little bit different with the subject matter, I think there's a film here for you to watch. For the rest of you that just want, a kind of a traditional vampire flick, bitey, sucking the blood, all that kind of stuff, you're not really going to get that with this one. From my perspective, I'm somewhere in the middle. I did understand what it was trying to do, but I didn't necessarily enjoy it at the same time. So I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. Definitely worth checking out if you're looking for something a little bit different and art house. That is my review for Climate of the Hunter. Hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I will be back very soon with more content on Screen Stars.